to finish off our Yaum together. And let's see, Dawn, you said that you sent a song to my email for Passover. Okay, beautiful. I will check it out. I think I saw that sent the song over. Tammy, you said, what song was that? That was a song that I put together. It's called Hayah, I Am. I will have that uploaded here. I got to send it to Aki Chris. I got a few songs I need to send his way. And but that is one that I had put together here not too long ago. Okay, so let us palal and let us go ahead and get back into what we were talking about earlier as we were getting into the different feast days and what they represent. And let me see here. Yes, let's go ahead and palal. Heavenly Abba Yahuwah, we come before you in the mighty name of your Bane, Yahushua HaMashiach. Tuda Atah Abba Yahuwah for allowing us to come together once again in your name. Abba, we ask that you would lead us and guide us in this study. Abba, we ask that you would continue to teach us, shape us, and mold us into the people that you want us to be. Abba, we also palal for all of our Akis and Akodis all around the world who call upon your name and seek your face, O Abba. May you continue to prepare us, your people, for the things that are at hand. We know that things are changing every moment on the Sarats. And we just ask that you would not allow us, O Abba, to take our eyes off of you. May we continue to walk on that straight and narrow path. No matter what the naysayers may say, if it even be our family, our friends, our husbands, our wives, our children, whoever it may be, O Abba, may we stay focused upon you, knowing that we have our reward in you, O Abba. And for this, we are grateful. All this we palal in the mighty name of your Bane, Yahushua HaMashiach. Hallelujah, Yahuah. Hallelujah, Yahuah. And Hallelujah, Yahuah. Amat. Rumamu Yahuwah. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So it's kind of ironic, and I have to share this with you guys before we get back to what we were doing earlier. So the gentleman that I had to deal with, that had to take care of this garage for me and my tenant, just so happens to be a Jewish guy. I've been working with this guy for a little while. Anytime I have garage things, he's a garage technician. So he's the guy that I call. Little pricey, but you know, I know he's going to get the work done, the job done. And and every time I see him, and when we get ready to leave, I would always say Barakatah to him. He would never, ever respond back. He just said, okay, goodbye. And I just wanted to share that with you guys because, again, if you understand their mentality is that they are not to have communication when it comes to this, okay? If they know that we know, they don't like to get into any kind of conversation with that. And he will not speak his Yiddish at all to me because, you know, they'll say Barakatov. They use that V, and they use that V heavy, okay? They use that O and that V, and they say Barukatov. And so yeah, he never acknowledges when I speak Hebrew to him. And that's okay, but I just find it hilarious every time it happens. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. All right, so I'm going to be reading out of TS 2009, and we were in Leviticus chapter 23, and we were talking about how people like to use Leviticus chapter 23, verse 32 as a blanket statement for all Shabbats, and it's not the same. Now, there was something that I said I was going to bring up. Let me see if I can recall. It had to do, I think it had to do with the calendar. It'll come back to me when I'm not thinking so hard. Okay. And so let's get back here. All right. So a lot of people, they like to use this passage here in verse 32 to state that the Shabbat is supposed to be from evening to evening. And we know that it's not. For those of you who have done the study with me and searched out the matter for yourself, you know that a day does not begin in the evening. There are certain feasts. Let's make this correct. Let's get it clear. There are certain feasts that start in the evening, but the day does not start in the evening. Another day starts at sunrise, okay? So here, again, verse 32, it is a Shabbat of rest to you, and you shall afflict your beings. Again, we know afflict your beings means that you are to fast from water and from food. On the 9th day of the new month at evening, from evening to evening, you observe your Shabbat. And remember, I was making the emphasis on your, okay, because we know that the other Shabbat, the weekly Shabbat, is his Shabbat. Again, right here, verse 3, it is a Shabbat to Yahuah, not our Shabbat. It's Yahuah's Shabbat. And so if you recall, when we was in Isaiah chapter 58, it says the same thing there. Let me refresh our memory. Let's go to Isaiah 58. In Isaiah 58, it reads, notice here, if you do turn back your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my set apart day, notice he claims it as his day, and shall call the Shabbat a delight, the set apart of Yahuah. Okay, now we can see that they put the word day here, all right, and it's italicized, so we know that's not in the original, but even still, he's still saying that it is Kadash of Yahuah, esteemed and shall esteem it, not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasures, nor speaking your own words, right? So we see again that the Shabbat belongs to him. The Sabbath was for him. All right. So remember, the Mashiach said when he was here, the Shabbat was not created for the man, but the man for the Shabbat was not for man, but the man for the Shabbat. Is that how it says it? I think that's how it says it, right? That the Sabbath wasn't created for the man, or is it the vice versa? I'm trying to remember. Let's go there. I cannot recall. Let's see here. Let's see here. I know it's in Matthew. And I cannot recall where it's located. If someone knows where it exactly it's at, please bring it up for me and I will read it. I cannot recall. Let me see. One of you guys might have to look it up for me. Trying to remember all these scriptures and passages in my head, and I can't remember it all. Mark 2:27. No, I don't think it's in Mark 2:27. Mark 2:27. Oh, yes. Thank you. TORAH. It's probably because I don't spend too much time in the book of Mark. The Sabbath was made for the man. That's what it is. Okay. And not man for the Sabbath. Right. So the son of Adam and TORAH, Mr. Kane and Yaverna and Lachey, want to appreciate you all for looking that up for me. So again, and he said to them, the Shabbat was made for Adam and not Adam for the Shabbat. So the son of Adam is also the master of the Shabbat. Okay, so here we see again that the Sabbath, he is the master of the Sabbath. He is the owner of the Sabbath. He is the one who has given us the Shabbat. Okay. And so the same thing that we see from Leviticus chapter 23, the same thing we see in Isaiah chapter 58. All right. So now let's go back to Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23, as we come to the Feast of Sukkot, that's the last one that we didn't get a chance to go through. And let's read that here. And Yahuah spoke to Moshe, verse 33, saying, speak to the children of Yasharal, saying, on the 15th day of this 7th month, it is the festival of Sukkot. You may know it as the Feast of Tabernacles or the Feast of tents, okay, or ingathering, for 7 days to Yahuah. Again, it's 7 days to Yahuah, not to us, to him. On the first day is a set apart gathering. You do no servile work. For 7 days you bring an offering made by fire to Yahuah. And on the 8th day there shall be a set apart gathering for you, and you shall bring an offering made by fire to Yahuah. It is a closing festival. You do no servile work. So again, we notice the first day and the last day, you are not to do any work, right? These are the appointed times of Yahuah that you are to proclaim as set apart gatherings, to bring an offering made by fire to Yahuah, an ascending offering, and a grain offering, a slaughtering, a drink offering, as commanded for every day, besides the Shabbat of Yahuah. So he's telling you right here, these high days, these appointed times are separate from the Sabbaths of Yahuah, besides the Sabbaths of Yahuah, and besides your gifts, and besides all your vows, and besides all your voluntary offerings that you give to Yahuah. So then he reiterates, on the 15th day on the 7th month, you when you gather your fruit of the land, celebrate the festival of Yahuah for 7 days. On the first day is a rest, and the 8th day a rest. And you shall take for yourselves on the first day the fruit of pleasant trees, branches and palm trees, twigs, leafy trees, and willows, and of the stream, and shall rejoice before Yahuah, your mighty one, for 7 days. For those of you that did the Sukkot with us over in the desert, in the campgrounds that we did that over here in northern Arizona, this is what we did. If you guys remember, we were walking around with palm branches and everything, waving it before Abba Yahuah. And you shall celebrate it as a festival to Yahuah. Notice that it's a festival to him for 7 days in the year, a law forever in your generations. Celebrate it in the 7th month. No other month are you supposed to celebrate this. You are to know when the 7th month begins. Now, this is a problem that a lot of people have when it comes to following instructions. Again, they gave us this word M-O-O-N, moon. You see that it is italicized. This means that it wasn't in the original writings in Hebrew, but they brought it over, and this has caused mass confusion amongst the people who are claiming themselves coming into the truth. So it goes on and says, and we're going to get into this word moon here in a minute, dwell in booths for 7 days. All who are native born in Yasharal dwell in booths. Does that mean that those who are not native born are not allowed to? No, it's just telling us here that it's clear that all who are native born in Yasharal dwell in booths, so that your generations know that I made the children of Yasharal. That's the whole reason, because it was for the children of Yasharal to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. I am Yahuah, your mighty one. Thus did Masha speak to the appointed times of Yahuah. They're his appointed times, not ours, his. And he spoke this to the children of Yasharal. All right. So now let's go to the word moon. Why is this word moon italicized in this book? We're going to look at some other translations. So we know that in the King James Version, they had that correct. Okay. They had it correct. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23. And people would say, well, why don't you like using the King James? Because they have changed and they've misplaced and replaced the name of our Creator almost 7,000 times. That's the biggest reason why I don't like the King James. Okay, because it is replacement theology all throughout. It's all replacement. They replaced the people, they replaced the names, they replaced everything. And some words. But certain things they did correct, and that's what I'm about to show you. So here, whenever you see in the other translations, you see where it talks about the moon, you don't see it here. Like, also on the 10th day of the 7th month. That's perfect, without the word moon. Okay? You don't see the word moon there. Again, it shall be unto you a Shabbat of rest, and you shall afflict your beings on the 9th day of the month, at even or at evening, from evening unto evening, you shall celebrate your Sabbath. Okay? The 15th day of this 7th month. You see that? Let me see. 7 days. Da, 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 da. So you see that they always use the word month. They never use the word moon here. Okay. Which is appropriately and rightly translated. Okay. Again, also on the 15th day of the 7th month. Yeah. All right. So again, this one is correct. You see it here. Also, you shall celebrate it in the 7th month. So now let's look at another one. I know the New King James did the same thing. They also use the word month. They don't use the word moon. I don't think we're going to look at it just to make sure. Now, this is Yah Scriptures. This is my favorite translation. I want to thank my Akudi, Stella Yahu, who is stellar. Stella is stellar. All right, so we're going to go to Leviticus, Raquara, chapter 23. I don't use this when I'm doing the lives because the book is so huge and makes it a little difficult to be able to get to certain passages that I want to get to quickly. Okay, so here they have translated it properly. See, they didn't put the word moon in here. So this is chapter 34. Speak to the children of Yasharah on the 15th day of the 7th month. See that? It's the festival of Sukkot for 7 days. They did it properly in this translation. Okay, so if we was to go to the very beginning, let's look at it here. Just want to make sure. Okay, chapter 23. And it brings up about, here we know about, it's talking about the Passover. In the first month, see, it doesn't say first moon. Okay, on the 14th day of the month, between the evenings, again, they did the same thing with the between the evenings as the scriptures, and we know it's not between the evenings, is the Pesach unto Yahuah. Now, this could make sense if we know that Pesach is from evening unto the next evening, okay? But as we were looking at this earlier, let's see how this says it here. The first month, Pesach. Oh, let's go to Exodus chapter 12. That's where we need to go. Let's see how they say that here. Exodus chapter 12. Same thing here. They say it correctly. This month is the beginning of months for you. It is the first month of the year, Shana, for you. Speak to all the congregation of the children of Yasharal, saying, on the 10th day of this month, each one of them is to take for himself a lamb according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. And if a household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the beings. According to each person's need, you make your count for the lamb. All right, so now let's go down here. Verse 6, where it starts talking about how to keep the Pesach. And you shall keep it until the 14th day, speaking of the lamb, and that same month, then all the assembly of the congregation of Yasharal shall unalive it between the evenings. So here it is again. We know this is not correct. You are not to unalive it between the evenings. You have to unalive it that evening. Why? Because if we continue to read, let me move this big old book this way. If we continue to read, it says this. 10, and do not leave it until the Bakor. What remains of it until Bakor, morning, you are to burn with fire. So again, you cannot slay it and then keep it all the way. You can slay it whenever you want between the evenings. You can't. It has to be that night. You have to eat it that night because it has to be consumed before the morning. Okay? So this is why I'm saying certain things have been translated incorrect in some of our best translations. There is no perfect translation out there unless you can read the Dead Sea Scrolls. All right. So that being said, I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of some of the different translations. So now why have they given us the word moon? Why the confusion? Well, this teaching came from Babylon. Okay. The teaching of the moon calendar came from Babylon. Where's my other translation here? There it is. So let me show you all something here. Let me bring this up. Give me a second. All right. Let's see what AI has information on this. Okay. I want you guys to see this. Now, what I put into the search engine was, where did the Hebrews get the lunar calendar from? Answer, the Hebrews adopted the lunar calendar. Notice it says adopted, meaning that it wasn't theirs. They adopted the lunar calendar during their Babylonian exile, influenced by the ancient Babylonian lunar calendar that was already in use. This system was later integrated into their own religious practices and observances. So this is why you have all these people. They'll argue you straight up and down. They'll argue with you over and over again. No. This is the truth. This is the calendar. You're supposed to look at the phases of the moon because it changes every 7 days. So there's 4 weeks in a month. That's 28 days. 7 times 4 is 28. And they wonder why they're off on all of their feast days. Just like it says that would happen in the book of Yobalim, chapter 2 and chapter 6. It's very simple. If we just open our eyes and allow Yahuah to teach us, we would recognize where we have picked up some leaven. This is leaven. This is leaven. This is teachings of the pagans, and we have adopted it into our understanding. Okay? So, as many of you know, the word lunar is another word for moon. Okay? Like they say in Spanish, luna, right? Or as they say for their first day, like we call it, or I shouldn't say first day, the second day of their pagan week, same thing, like today, the English-speaking world calls it Monday, but it's Moon Day, right? And with the Spanish, they say it in their own vernacular, Luna, which is where we get the word lunar from. All right? So this is why we know that the Babylonians taught this to the Yahudim. All right? So now, understanding that, you can see why James Strong, who put together his concordance called Strong's Concordance, we see why we have these problems about the word moon, because again, he was influenced heavily by these Yiddish people who call themselves Jews and are not. The Zionists have been around for a very long time. These were converts, okay, and they took upon the true Jews' teaching of the what do you call it? The teachings of the oral traditions of the rabbis that they call the Talmud. Talmud is the oracle, or the oral teachings of the rabbis or the teachers of Judaism. Okay, Yahuah never gave us Judaism. Judaism was created by the Jews. Okay, this is where they went off script. So, okay, so if we go here, give me a second. I want to pull something up here. Let's see if it'll tell us, if AI will tell us why they changed to this lunar calendar. Why did the change? Let's see. Let's see what it says. Okay. So this is what it says here. The Hebrews adopted the lunar calendar to align their religious observances with the cycles of the moon. You see this? They adopted this, right? The Hebrews adopted the lunar calendar, and we just saw where they adopted it from. They adopted it from the Babylonians when Nebuchadnezzar took the house of Yehudah and Benjamin and some of the Levitical priesthood to Babylon, and this is where they picked this up, right around 560 BC. Okay, and so it goes on and says, that is significant for determining the dates of the Jewish-ish holidays. Okay, this system allows for a more accurate reflection of natural phenomena such as the new moon. That's why they keep saying new moon. That is essential for their agricultural and religious practices. It doesn't say for the creators' agricultural and religious practices. No, it was for their agricultural and religious practices. So now we see some of this information and where it comes from. So now I want to show you this word, new moon, that was changed and derived from the Strong Concordance as he was influenced by these Jewish people. And this is why Yahuah is restoring this back to his people who have eyes to see and ears to hear. You want to stay in traditions of men? You want to continue to do these oral traditions of the rabbis, and you want to go off script, and you want to follow another calendar? By all means, go ahead and continue to do so, because you have fulfilled prophecy out of the book of Yobalim, or Jubilees, where it says that we would go astray as to the calendar because we were going to follow the moon. And I'll show you that here in a minute. Most of you already know this, but I want to put this in here. Let's put this word in. New moon. Once I spell it right. All right. Okay, so I want you all to see this as well. Again, it's what I can prove. It's not what I'm saying. It's what I can prove. So here, if you all recall, when David was about to get harmed by King Shaul, you may know him as King Saul, Jonathan was kind of like his front man. He was going to let David know, because Jonathan and David had a very tight and close relationship, and Jonathan's dad was King Saul. Well, here in 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 5, and Dawood said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon. Okay, now notice here, there's no number for new, okay? But they do have what they say is the number for moon. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to double click it, open up the dictionary. So we have this word here, okay? And you can see the Masoretic vowel points, and they make you say that it is Kodesh. We know it's not pronounced Kodesh, it's Kadash, okay? No O's, no E's, okay? It's Kadash. So here it says from 23:18, so we're going to look in that. See? Kadash, okay? That's the way it's originally supposed to be pronounced. A root to be new, causatively to rebuild, renew, repair. Where do you see the word moon in here? You don't, do you? No. Why? Because they changed the meaning. It's the lying pens of the scribe. And so this is why you're seeing this here. They changed it, but it's actually from 23:18. The etymology of the word goes back to Kadash, not Kodesh, as they use these dots and dashes to get you to believe that this is how this is supposed to be pronounced. And so they give you new moon. Notice they hyphenate, or they italicize the word new, and then they put moon by implication, a monthly, or new moon. Again, all of this is man-made up. This is all made up by man. Why? Because the word moon is not Kadash. It's not Kadash, okay? Again, if you go back here to 23:18, the etymology of this word that they're saying means moon actually comes from Kadash, and it means renew. What's renewed? The month is renewed. What is the renewing? 30-day period, just like we're told in Enoch chapter 72. Okay, so now, Let's put in the word moon. Let's see what the word moon means. Okay, Genesis 37:39. He dreamed yet another dream, talking about Joseph, and told it to his brethren. And he said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun, okay, which is Shamash, okay, Shamash, and the moon, which is Yerach, okay, that's how you say moon, all right? That's moon. It says it's the same. Let's do this. Let's go back over here. Dictionary, open it up. 3331, again. Yerach, same three letters, okay? You see it right there. From an unused root, uncertain signification, a lunation. That's, now notice they put that there. This is what James Strong put, a lunation. That is month, or moon. It doesn't say that anywhere in there. You can't use that as moon or month. Yerach is moon. Okay, so again, this is how they cause the confusion. All right, so the word Yerach is moon. So we don't see anywhere in the script. Bring it back here. Let's go back to Leviticus chapter 23. So now that you know what the wording is, let's look at this. In the first Kadash, that's why we call the months Kadash, because that's what it is, Kadash 1. Okay, we're in the first month. There's no need to have this word moon here. Why did they put the word moon here? I just showed you where they got it from. They got it from the Babylonians. The Babylonians taught this to the house of Yahudah when they went into captivity into Babylon, and they brought that same teaching, that same tradition back to the land, the promised land, and now we see it all in our translations. But it wasn't like that from the beginning. So we do not see the word anywhere in the Hebrew script where it says Rosh Yerach. Nowhere do we see Rosh Yerach. Rosh Yerach would be the head of the moon or new moon. But we don't see that anywhere in the Hebrew script. What we see is Rosh Kadash. And Rosh Kadash would be the head of the month or the head of the period, a renewed period. So this is why when you read books like Yobalim, Jubilees, now it makes sense why we are told this in chapter 6. Let me put this back on the cradle. Whoops. Apologies for that, you all. My hand got a little loose there about holding the phone. So now let me take you to chapter 6 so you can see why it says that this was going to happen. And you see it right there in front of you, verse 36. Chapter 6, verse 36 of Jubilees. For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year 10 days too soon. For this reason, what reason? For making observations of the moon. For this reason, the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order and make an abominable day, the day of testimony, and an unclean day, a feast day. And they will confound all the days. Why? Because all you have to be is off by one day or off by the time of the day. Like they want to say that the day begins in the evening. That's nowhere in scripture that a day begins in the evening. I'm going to show you that next. So here they say, the day of the testimony and the unclean day of feast day. This is what they're going to do. They're going to confound all the days, the set apart with the unclean and the unclean day with the set apart, or Kadash. For they will go wrong as to the months. Why? Because they're following the moon. They're going to go wrong as to the Sabbaths. Again, why? Because they're doing lunar Sabbaths. They're going to go wrong as to the feast days. Why? Because they're looking at the sliver of the moon to say, oh, it's the new month, blow the shofar. 14 days later from this time, it's going to be what we call the Passover, when they say it's a full moon. So they're going to go wrong as to that as well. And they're also going to go wrong as to when the Jubilee begins or ends and begins. For this reason, I command and testify to you, Moses, that you may testify to them, that is to the children of Yasharal, for after your death, when Masha had passed away, it's saying here, prophetically saying that the children will disturb them. Disturb what? Disturb the calendar, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. Why? Because they're going to be making observations of the moon, and the moon cycle is 354 days. That's why it comes in 10 days too soon. So this is why we have to follow exactly what the instructions are. So it says, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason, they will go wrong as to the new months. Even this translator still puts in the word moon. And we just showed you there is no such thing as a new moon. It's a new month, a new period, a renewing of a period. They're going to go wrong as to the seasons. They're going to go wrong as to the Sabbath. This is why today is the Shabbat. Today, not yesterday, not the day before that, not Saturn's day. Okay, all of that stuff, even the word Saturn, is letting you know that they have connected the Sabbath to Saturn. And who is Saturn? Has to do with Satan. This goes back to Moloch, having your children pass through the fire. They were worshiping Baal. Another name would be Moloch. And then I just found out that Moloch, the way some people even give their children a name, and they call their children, their sons, Malik. Malik comes from Moloch. It's crazy. I got a second cousin. His name is Malik. Not his fault. His parents' fault. They didn't know any better. So it says that they're going to go wrong as to the new moons, but it's actually new months. They're going to go wrong as to the months. They're going to go wrong to the seasons. They're going to go wrong with the Sabbaths. They're going to go wrong with the Moadim, the festivals, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. So what do we do with this information? You need to stop following the phases of the moon if you are one of these people. This is why they removed books like Jubilees out of their books of what they canonized, because it goes against their calendar. Same thing, Jubilees chapter 2, verse 9, very clearly states. And let me back this up. Let me go to also, hold on one second, I got to get this phone right. Let's go to verse 8 before verse 9. Verse 8. Chapter 2 of Jubilees, verse 8. And it goes on and it says this. And on the fourth day, he, Yahuah, created the sun and the moon and the stars. Okay? It specifically lays out sun, moon, and stars. He set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon all the earth, and to rule over the day and the night, and divide the light from the darkness. Now, for any of you who are well versed in scripture, you would know in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, it almost says it verbatim. Why? Because Masha, who wrote Jubilees, also wrote Genesis. Okay, so he took these words from Jubilees and he applied it into Genesis. All right, now it goes on and it says this, verse 9. And Yahuah Elohim, the mighty of mighty ones, appointed the sun, the sun, to be a great sign on the earth for days, for Sabbaths, and for months, and for feasts, and for years, and for Sabbath of years, and for Jubilees, and for all the seasons of the years. Why do people still follow the moon after reading this verse? He literally tells you that the sun is going to be for days. That's how you mark out your days, not the moon. He says the sun is going to be the way you find out your Sabbath. It's the sun that lets you know when a month begins and when it ends. It's the sun that tells you when you are to celebrate your feast days, not the moon, the sun. It's the sun that tells you when a year comes in and when a year goes out. It's the sun that tells you when 7-year periods have completed. It's the sun that tells you when 50 years have been completed in a Jubilee year. It's the sun that tells you when you have entered into one season to the next season, from spring to summer, from summer to fall, from fall to winter, and then back from winter to spring. It has to do with the position of the sun, because it is the sun that brings forth heat. It is the sun that brings forth the light for things to grow, for things to procreate. All of it has to do based upon the sun. Anyone who wants to put emphasis on the moon, they're looking at the lesser light, not the greater light. And you must remember, all of this is significant, because if we go back and we look at even what Shaul was saying, and even the Messiah himself was saying, let's go here to what Shaul was saying in 1 Corinthians chapter 5, or chapter 5. Oh, no, wait. 1 Thessalonians, not 1 Corinthians. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. What does he say here? Verse 4. But you, brethren, are not in darkness, so that this day, that is the day of Yahuah, should overtake you as a thief. For you are all sons of light, sons of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Why do we bring this up? Because again, if you go back and you look at Genesis chapter 1, and Yahuah Elohim said, let light come to be, and the light came to be. And Yahuah Elohim saw the light, that it was great. And Yahuah Elohim separated the light from the darkness. And Yahuah Elohim called the light day, sons of the day, sons of the light. And the darkness he called night, sons of the darkness, sons of the night. And there came to be evening, and there came to be Bakor, or morning, one day. People like to stop right here and say, see, look, evening came first. Evening was mentioned first. But you see, depending on what translation you have, like the King James Version, it doesn't have this prepositional phrase here, came to be. It just says, and there was evening, and there was morning, one day. But you're missing this very significant passage here, that it came to be evening, which means that there was a process of time before the evening came about. So evening is not the beginning of the day. Evening is in the middle of the day, what is considered fully a day. Okay, let me show you. Notice that no matter what translation you read from, it's always going to say morning right before it says the next day. So morning, one day. Morning, 2 day. Morning, the 3rd day, right? Morning, the 4th day. What am I trying to get you to see? Check this out. The first day, he said, let light come to be, right? It came to be. It says it came to be evening, came to be morning, one day. So right here, we see that the morning is the end of a day. And then if you start reading this, all of this happened, and then it came to be evening, and then it came to be morning, the 2nd day. So if you have a brain to understand, look at this. Morning to the next morning, to the next morning, right here. And then to the next morning, right here. So what is it telling us? What is the word telling us? That a day begins in the morning. Because once the day is completed in the morning, you're starting another day. It's an inflection point. You're going to another day. Right here. Splitting hairs, but right there is the very beginning. It's the ending of a day, and it's the beginning of another morning. Then you go through the whole process again, morning. Because what you don't see is it saying, and it came to be evening, and then it came to be evening one day. So if it went from evening to evening, that would be a 24-hour period, wouldn't it be? All 168 of you in here. I don't think that takes a rocket scientist to believe that, or to understand that, or to comprehend that. It just says evening and morning. That's not a full day. That's not even half of a day. So what you're seeing here is it's letting you know that it goes from morning to the next morning. That is the 2nd day. So the same thing would apply. We don't see the morning here because this is where everything began when he said, let light come to be. That was the rising of himself. He is that light. Just like when you read in John chapter 1, verse 1, right? In the beginning was the Word. In the beginning, Yahuah Elohim created the heavens and the earth. What does it say here? And in him was the life, and the life was the light of men. Verse 5. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Your translation from the King James or New King James is say it might not comprehend it, right? That the darkness did not comprehend it. Same thing here. He separated the light from the darkness. There's a separation that is happening, spiritually speaking, in this world. Those who are the sons of the dark and of the night, and those who are of the sons of the light and of the day. This takes us back to the calendar. Which one are you going to follow? The lesser light or the greater light? This is symbolic. You want to say that the day begins in the evening as it's going into the dark? By all means, make your decision. That's who you're going to follow. You are serving Baal. You're serving the dark. You're serving the night. The day does not begin at night. It starts at sunrise. It's the same thing that's going to happen when we enter into the millennial kingdom. That millennial reign happens when everything is dark. Let's go to Revelation. In fact, I got to go not to Revelation, Matthew 24. It's backed up in Revelation as well, but Matthew 24 makes it a little more clear. You'll be able to see it. Matthew 24, verse 29. And immediately after the distress or the tribulation, some of your translations will say, of those days, what happens? The sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, and the stars shall fall from heaven. This is total darkness. If we go to Revelation and we look at the fourth bowl, let's go to chapter 16. The fourth bowl, verse 8, chapter 16, verse 8. And the fourth messenger, yours will say angel, poured out his bowl on the sun, and it was given to him to burn men with fire. And men were burned with great heat, and they blasphemed the name of Yahuah Elohim, who possesses authority over these plagues, and they did not repent to give him esteem. Right? That's the fourth one. And then it goes on and says here, let me see if I can find it. Where's that darkness? Where, oh, where, oh, where, oh, where, oh, where? Let me check. Hold on one second. I'm trying to remember. Where is that darkness? Let's see, 18, 19. Okay, so then he comes, prepared himself. I cannot remember where that is. Where in the world is it? I apologize, you all. I thought I remembered exactly where it was. Okay, I know it's not in 19. I know it's not in 18. It's definitely not in 17. Oh, I just passed it. Okay. It's the fifth bowl, not the fourth bowl. The fifth bowl. And the fifth messenger poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and his reign became darkened. And they gnawed their tongues from pain, and they blasphemed the mighty one of heaven for their pains and their sores, and they did not repent of their works. So here we see that the kingdom of this earth was darkened. Who is the king of this earth? Shaitan. His whole kingdom, the whole earth. This has to do with Matthew 24. Same thing. Again, and immediately after distress of those days, when the tribulation is over, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give its light, and the stars shall fall from heaven. And the powers of the Shamaim shall be shaken. And then the sign of the son of Adam shall appear in the heaven. So if all of this is darkened, it's going to be so easy to see the sign of the son of Adam as he appears in the heaven, because again, he is light. He is light. There's a division between the powers of darkness and the authority and the power of the light. This goes all the way again, symbolically speaking of the calendar, speaking of the feast days. And as many of you know, again, let's look at the feast days. Certain feast days start in the evening, and certain feast days begin when the sun rises. So if we go here to Leviticus chapter 23, let's go back and look at this. Notice here, he doesn't say anything about the Sabbath starting in the evening, right? Even though people like to make a blanket statement with verse 32 over here, which is talking about the Day of Atonement, and they like to use this for all the days. At evening, from evening to evening, you observe your Sabbath. But if you back up and you see what it's talking about here, this whole subject matter has to do with Yom Kippurim, okay? Yom Kippurim, which is Day of Atonement. So this is to be done from the 9th day at evening, and it starts on the, it ends on the 10th day, okay? Because this is where it all starts right here about Yom HaKippurim, 10th day. But you are to start it on the 9th day at evening. So from evening of the 9th to the evening of the 10th, you are to observe your Sabbath. That is not every Sabbath. The weekly Sabbath, we are not told that it starts in the evening. Why? Because we are taught in Exodus chapter 16 that the day begins at sunrise. We also see this in what I just showed you in Genesis chapter 1, that is at sunrise. Now, there are people that are teaching, saying that Shabbat, the 7th day, is only during the daylight portion. Well, that would make Matthew chapter 28, verse 1, a lie. Okay, Matthew chapter 28, verse 1 says otherwise. This is when the Marys went to the tomb to look for the Messiah. Well, they were actually not looking for him. They were getting ready to put spices on his body. But late in the Shabbat, notice the wording here. Late in the Sabbath is not over. It's still going. As it was dawning, what is dawning? When the sun is coming up, into day 1 of the week. Again, we see that it has 2 italicized words here. So again, as it was dawning into 1 of week. Okay. So they put these in so we can make a complete sentence in English from the Greek. As it was dawning into the day 1 of the week, Miriam of Magdala and the other Miriam came to see the tomb. Now, as I was sharing earlier in our first segment, remember I was telling you that the Messiah was raised on the Sabbath, not the first day of the week. Why do we know that he was raised on the Sabbath? Even according to the calendar, we see that he was raised on the Sabbath, at the beginning of the Sabbath, mind you. This is the Sabbath day that they're coming here, late in the Sabbath, as it was about to become the first day of the week when the sun rises. Remember what we read in Genesis chapter 1. It was from morning to morning. It didn't say evening to evening was the first day. No, it said evening to morning was the first day. And then it goes all the way to morning to the second day. So by understanding this, we know that a day ends and begins at morning. Same thing here. The Sabbath ends in the morning and the first day begins when the sun is rising. And we know that the Messiah was raised on the Sabbath, the 3rd day, because they came here looking for his body. And this angel said, he is not here. He was raised as he has said. Come, see the place where the master lay. You're going to tell me that from the time that they came here to when this angel spoke to them, that it took a long time and now it's the first day of the week? No, he was already gone. He was already gone. Tudata Akiel, appreciate the letting me know. Yes, it's time for the evening palal, the evening prayer. So again, we see very clearly that the Messiah was already raised from the dead, raised from the grave. So when they came here late in the Sabbath, his body wasn't there. Why? Because he was resurrected at the very beginning of the Sabbath when the sun rose. It's so funny that in Christianity, they say, oh, well, we don't say the word Easter anymore. We say Resurrection Sunday. And then like most of these evangelical, non-denominational, charismatic churches, now they say, oh, we're going to have a sunrise service on Resurrection Sunday. Why do you think they're doing a sunrise service? Because they thought that he resurrected on the first day of the week, their pagan week, and that he resurrected when the sun came up. They were a full 24 hours late. Their teaching is wrong. Okay, before we go any further, let us go ahead and pull all. It's a beautiful sunset here in Vegas, by the way. Let's see if you guys can see this. Some clouds, some misty cloud there. You can kind of see the clouds, yes. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull all. Heavenly Abba Yahuwah, we come before you at this time of the Arab Palal. The times when you tell us that we are to come to you, another appointed time when we are to speak to you and speak with you. Abba, thank you for opening our eyes to your truth. I know we may not all see this. It all has to do with you when you are the one who opens up our eyes to see these things. And yet we thank you, O Abba, because you didn't have to open up our eyes to see this. We could be like the other people that you didn't open up. But for whatever reason, you have chosen us because we did not choose you. You chose to open our eyes, O Abba, and we are grateful. We are thankful that you have done this. Because if it wasn't so, we would not be saved. We would not be healed. We would be lost. Thank you, Abba. TORAH, Abba Yahuwah. Abba, we continue to palal for our Akis and our Kodis all around the world. We also palal for the ancestors that came before us, O Abba. Those who did correctly and righteously, and even those who did not do correctly. Forgive them, for they have put us into this position where we have been scattered to the four winds of the earth. And now you are opening up our eyes again, restoring us back unto yourself. For you say that you have a people who have not bowed their knee to Baal, who we know that they have replaced your name with Lord. And so we don't bend the knee to Baal anymore. We don't call Baal our Savior anymore. We don't use that word anymore in the English, Lord, anymore, O Abba. Because if it wasn't for you, again, we would still be calling you by that word. And so we thank you for the prophecy that you have told us, that you would start to remove the names of the Baalim, the Baals, the Lords, out of our mouth. And I say this, O Abba, so that those who are listening to us may understand what you have done with us. That you have chosen us to be your peculiar people. That we are to be a nation of kings and priests. And that we are to teach and to share these truths to those who will hear and those who have eyes to see. And so we thank you for this time, this hour of palal, that we can come before you to speak with you. Do not deal with us according to our ways, but deal with us according to your mercies, according to your long suffering and your patience that you have with us for your name's sake, O Abba. All these things we ask in the mighty name of your Bane, in the mighty name of your Son, Yahusha. I am his salvation. For there is no other name that's been given to us under the Shamaim, under the heavens, that we may call upon to be saved. Hallelujah, Yahuwah, Hallelujah, Yahuwah, and Hallelujah, Yahuwah, Amat. Rumamu Yahuwah, Amat. I hear you, baby. All right. I said, I can hear you, baby.
I was out there. I didn't want to disturb you. I was trying to get up there.
All right. So, Do we have any questions about what I've shared so far? We're going to kind of make this. Yeah, I was just telling him, I was like, got a beautiful sunset. It's about to turn more red. The sky is going to look like it's on fire here in a minute. Dear, can I get some vino, please? 1 second. Tudata. All right. Any questions? Any questions? Joanna says no. I recently got the book of Enoch, but I got Jubilees on the way. Yes, Shannon. Those books are Yafa. They're beautiful.
Did you say something?
Yes, can I get vino, please?
Oh, we don't have any more vino.
Oh, we don't?
No.
Oh, somebody doesn't drink.
No, that was 2 days ago.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's see here. Can you please play that song I sent you, Ak? Let me see here. Did you send it to my email or did you send it to my phone? If you sent it to my phone, I will not be able to do so. Please send it to my email.
Some salt, you.
Yes. Yes, please send it to my email, JJ. Tudata. Okay. It is 7 o'clock here on the West Coast. I need Palal, Mishpaka. I'm making a decision to part with my high-end name brand bags. Ooh, that's a rough one there. I know what you mean. Abba Yahuah, we ask that you would help Joanna to remove the idols in her life. And not only Joanna, but for the rest of us as well. She is not the only one, oh Abba, that needs to clean house. We all need to get our houses in order, oh Abba, that you are first. As you have said, seek first the kingdom of Yahuah and all his righteousness, and these things shall be added unto us. Tudata, tudata. Oh, not Joanna. I meant Yah's chosen. To that, Cody, for correcting me, Salakia. Oh, that's hilarious. Thank you, Cody Victoria. Mr. Kane, you said Yahuah made me meet a brother in my town who does Shabbat on SAT nights. I am meeting with him tomorrow, Yah willing, to teach him. So thank you for going over this again. Yes, Mr. Kane. You know, again, there's people, and again, I have to say this because we learn from repetition. Okay? We learn from repetition. Nobody gets it the first time around. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. And the reason being is because we only retain a part of what we hear. Okay, JJ, let's see what you sent me here. Babe, Onyx, what you doing up here? Babe. Downstairs, downstairs. All right, what was I saying? I'm sorry, I got taken off track here with my doggies coming up in here. Let's see, new to the truth and just picked. Oh, that's what I was saying. So this is the reason why I repeat things, because again, repetition is key to remembering and reciting things. Okay, repetition is key. All right. If you just read it once, and you guys see me doing this where I'm like, oh man, I can't remember where that was because I haven't gone to that passage enough times to remember it, to recollect it in my brain. It's sometimes okay to have notes but you have to go over these things over and over again so it becomes second nature to you. Okay. All right. Galliano, you said new to the truth and just picked up the Stone Edition Torah with the prophets and the writings. Did I make a good choice? You know, I don't know, Galliano, about the Stone Edition of the Torah. I have no idea. I'm gonna have to look into that. So I can't give you my opinion on if you made a right decision or not. Notice I said my opinion. Okay. Subliminal. Yes, be careful when you clean your house and go back to it and find it all neat in place that you find 7 more. Yes, exactly. Yes, we don't want that. They're stunning. Well, that's the way Satan likes to get us. They stun us. You know what I mean? Stun. Like a stun gun. You're stunned. Yeah, it's stunning. Let's see. Shabbat Shalom, Makodi Tanya. Great to see you here. Denise Reed. Well, that's what I was going over. How can I learn about the feast and the Sabbath that we are supposed to keep? So, okay, so let me do this here before I play the song. So this is our website, okay? One of the things about this website, I can't drink all of that. Let me see here, Ambassadors of Yah. Okay, so here we have at the top, I want to thank our Aki, Chris, Yahuah's calendar. This is where you're going to want to go. For those of you who want to learn, you need to study the calendar out, okay? This is the calendar for this year. If you go down here and this automatically updates, I want to thank Aki Chris again for putting this beautiful site together where I don't know how he did this, but it just automatically updates as our calendar updates, and it even has the Gregorian date here underneath. All right. But if you continue to go here where it says the calendar information, give it a second to pop up. Bam, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to enlarge it. Okay. And so here you have this button over here that if you click on it, it opens it up. Okay. Anybody who wants to study the calendar, even if you don't have the whole workings of the calendar, how the calendar works, it's okay. You practice it out and it'll start becoming second-hand nature to you, okay? Or second nature to you, not second-hand, but second nature to you. And so let me blow this up. All right, so now you'll see here how we have it all broken down. Move that out the way. And you see the very first day of the year is spring equinox. Okay, that just passed the 20th. That was 3 days ago. All right. That began the true beginning of the year. Okay, so now notice that we have the pagan days up here. All right. That happened on Friday. Well, on the 4th day of this month, of this first month, is your first Shabbat. You may say, well, why isn't it the 7th day since we just started the year? Because Yahuah created the sun, moon, and the stars on the 4th day of creation, Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. That is the marker. That is the marker. Okay, so when you go here to Genesis chapter 1, and this is why we need to look into these things. We have to seek these matters out. And so here we see that Yahuah Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse of the Shamayim to separate the day from the night, and let them be, notice this, for signs. What signs are we talking about? The takufa in Hebrew, takufa in the English, that would be the turning of the season. The appointed times, you know that as to be feast days. For days, that would be your weekdays, okay, or what we call weekly days, your 7-day periods, and for years. So understanding this, This was the moment that this is how we know when time began, because here, the first day, the second day, and the third day, we wouldn't have any reference of how to keep the first, second, and third day until he created the sun, moon, and the stars. Once he put those orbs in the sky, now we have this Rolex watch in the sky at night and in the day to be able to know where we at in the seasons, where we're at in the day. We understand what's going on. We know when we begin the feast days. All of this is because of this fourth day. And so the very first day of the year is the fourth day of the week. This is the marker. Now you may say, yeah, but it doesn't say that you're supposed to start the year on the fourth day. Well, see, this is why we have another book called the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now I'm about to bring this up. The Dead Sea Scrolls, these were people, and there's a lot of heavy evidence that John the Baptist and his disciples, those that he was over, that he was shepherding before the Messiah came, it was them who was the ones who gave us these parchments called the Dead Sea Scrolls, okay, that were found in the caves there in the Qumran area of the Qumran caves. So here in fragment number 400, 4Q400, it says this: to the master song of the Holocaust. This word Holocaust, many of us think of the Holocaust like, oh, these Jews were put in, it was their Holocaust. This word here actually means holo, which comes from the Hebrew, if I can remember. Oh man, I can't remember. Ula, which ula means an offering. Okay, it's like a burnt offering. So the song of the burnt offering of the first Sabbath on the 4th of the first month. Notice it's telling you when the Sabbath is. The very first Sabbath of the year is on the 4th day of the first month. That's what I was showing you here. And this is why, if you understand that the Shabbat is on the 4th day of the first month, if this is the Shabbat and it's the 4th day of the first month, if you go backwards, the first day of the year is on the 4th day of the week. Does everybody understand that so far? If you do, please give me a 7. Who was it here? Yas Chosen, you said, what page is that? So here it would be 330, if you're talking about the Dead Sea Scroll from this book here. The Dead Sea Scrolls in English by Giza Vermes. Oh, I remember what I was going to tell all of you. Okay, so to, let me see. Aki Robin, are you here, Aki Robin from Australia? And RSM, are you also here? Manase from New Zealand, are you also here? Actually, Manase, you're in Australia as well. All my people from the down under, are you here today? If you are, give me a 1. I don't know if you guys left. This is more for you guys than it is for anyone else, and I needed to make this announcement. Manase, beautiful, you're here. Okay. Yoza Locke, you're also here. Okay, beautiful. You're from NZ. Okay. I don't think anyone else is here from that area. Okay, so this is another thing that Yahuah, I guess you can say, deposited into my heart or implanted it into my heart. So you know how we've been saying that you guys are already in the Shabbat? That is based off of man's time, called the international dateline. Let me say that again. The reason why you guys who are in New Zealand and in Australia who claim, and I'm saying this because it's been deposited in my heart. You can go in and we're going to have to research this out, but we're going to find it to be true. Okay. The reason why all of you who are in Australia and in New Zealand believe that you're already in the Shabbat, or it's over now for you guys, but you guys are ahead of us in the Shabbat time, is because of the international dateline that was made by man. When the Shabbat actually starts in Jerusalem, it doesn't start anywhere east of Jerusalem. It doesn't start in Persia. It doesn't start in Iraq. It doesn't start in Syria, in Damascus, which is a little further east than Jerusalem. No, it starts at Jerusalem, and then it goes west. That is the international dateline. Okay? It starts right there. So with that being said, we're going to have to make some corrections when it comes to those of you who live on that fake international dateline. So let me show you guys, for some of you who may not understand what I'm talking about. Let's see, do I have it here on my map? I do, but it's too far away. Let me go ahead and pull this up on, let me bring this down. I hear our little one over there making all kinds of noises, huh, baby?
She's
Okay.
fine. I'm just jealous because the other two are probably back.
Right.
Yeah.
International.
She said the reason I hit my funny bone. And it hurts.
Okay. Your what hurts?
My funny bone.
Oh,
And this sliding glass door.
okay. So I know again, you guys might have, and I'm thankful to Abba Yahuwah for putting this on my heart as we're doing the very first Shabbat of the year. I don't want you guys to be going astray and doing it the wrong way, okay? And so let me show you a map of the international dateline. I guess this would probably be best. View file. Okay. So as you all can see here, this is the international dateline, this red line right here, okay? I'm sure many of you guys who've ever, if you've ever studied maps or just, take an observation of the map, you'll notice this red line that goes all the way down the seam of the page here. Down here, this yellow island here, these two islands here, this is New Zealand, okay? So everything left of this line, or to say west of the line, yes. So everything west of this line, they say is MON day, Monday. Okay, so if this side is Sunday, they're saying that they're a day ahead, it's Monday. Well, what I'm sharing with you is that that is all man-made. Yahuwah didn't give us this separation of one side is a day ahead of the other. Okay, this is what man has created. But we know that time begins in Jerusalem. Why? Because that's where Yahuwah says that he is going to place his temple. So all of our appointed times, all of our Shabbats, everything as far as time is concerned must be related and must have Jerusalem in mind as the beginning. Do you guys understand what I'm sharing with you? Do you all understand what I'm sharing with you? All right. Beautiful, beautiful. Manes, I know this is going to be a little different. So now what we need to do, and let me think about this for a second. So right now, as the sun is rising over there in New Zealand, what time is it over there, Manes? What time is it there in your neck of the woods? In the neck of the islands? (1:30 p.m.) Okay, so right now, 1:30 p.m., you are in the Shabbat right now. Right now is the Shabbat there. Because again, the sun is coming from the east to the west. Hold on one second. Let me close this door. Sorry about that. All right. So right now, you are in the Shabbat. Because if we understand that the sun, starting from Jerusalem, let me see if I can find a better map, because a lot of these maps are not showing the whole earth. Did Samchum come to there?
When mommy came, got dropped off, and she realized she didn't have her phone, so
Oh.
I called Sumo, and Sumo didn't answer. The subject came because he saw her mom's phone on the floor of his car.
Okay, so he just brought it back?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see here. I'm looking for a better map. Okay, I think this one would probably do best here. Okay, so let me show this one. All right, let me blow this up. And it's a little blurry, but it'll do. Okay, let's see here. Let's see what you guys are saying. Your dogs are barking as well, Constance. That's funny. Okay, so again, you said it's 1:30 p.m. over there in Australia. All right, so here's Australia, okay? This is where Jerusalem is right here. Now the sun is going this way, so it's now about to become morning or Bakor the next day in Jerusalem. Okay, so the sun, as it rises from the east, here's Jerusalem. Everybody else is starting to enter into what we know as Shabbat. Okay, and now, minus this international fake date line, we keep on going. You guys are entering into Shabbat. When the sun rose earlier this day, which is 1:30 now for you in where you're at in Australia, Aki, it is now going in this direction. Okay, so now Jerusalem is entering into another day. The Shabbat is done in Jerusalem. And so we're in the dark right now. We're waiting for the sun to come back, and then we will be in another day. We will be in the first day of the week, which will be tomorrow. Okay? So it makes sense, right, Mr. Kane? Okay, so I had to show that to you. So what's really happening here is Tuesday, because you guys are on this fake international date line, your Tuesday is going to be your Shabbat. I know that sounds crazy, but that's because of the time that the sun gets there, it's going to be your Shabbat. So that means everybody, once the sun is going here, by the time it gets over here, these people are already in Tuesday here. All of this until it gets to Jerusalem. Yes, yes. So your Shabbat Menes started when the sun rose earlier today, not yesterday. Because again, time begins at Jerusalem. AJ, and this is why I need you to, if you guys are listening to what I'm saying, this here is a man-made line that they call the international date line. And they're saying that they are a day ahead of us, okay? But man has created that time. In fact, it was the Catholics who created this 24-hour period that we're all using, okay? And they say that this is the beginning of the line here, this Greenwich line that goes through Greenwich, Ireland. Yes, exactly, Menace. So, but it's not difficult. Just think about it this way, okay? When I come on here, like I did earlier, okay, which is at 1 o'clock my time, the sun has already risen, okay, because I'm literally coming on about midday, right? So I know this might sound confusing at first, but it's not. When you really look at it, just like we had to, excuse me, erase the pagan calendar from our mind to understand, like when a day begins, right? Because they're all telling us that the day begins at midnight. Well, the day doesn't begin at midnight. The day begins at sunrise, according to Yahuah. Who do we want to obey, man or Yahuah? We want to obey Yahuah. Okay. Now, while we're living in the world, we follow their rules. Okay. Because we have to play by their rules. But when it comes to the truth, we need to observe Yahuwah's truth. We need to live by his word. So again, this was on my mind today, and it just felt like, again, like I've told you guys before, it's not like I hear Abba's voice. It's just like he just deposits something into your brain, and then you start to think about it, and you're like, whoa. Because I wasn't thinking about this. It just came to me. I was like, yeah, that's not right. Well, I mean, this is flat in itself. Okay, so I'm not using a globe. This way we can see all the continents of the earth and how it's divided. Each one of those lines is an hour. Okay, it's an hour represented all across the earth. All right. I'm showing this because, again, man has given us these lines. Yahuwah didn't give us these lines. Man has. Okay. We're just supposed to be using the sun as it rises to let us know when the day begins. They gave us this fake international date line and say everything on the right of this line is the day before, and everything on the left of this line is a day I should say a day advanced. Okay. So if we're Monday here like it is now, everybody over there in Australia, in the far east of Asia, they're all saying they're in Tuesday. Well, Nazareth, the way I'm looking at this is this way. So let's think of it this way. Jerusalem is here. Okay. When the sun rises in Jerusalem, it's the Sabbath. Okay. We're not going to use any pagan days. We're just going to call it for what it is. It's the Sabbath. The sun rises here. All right. And as the sun continues to travel west, and it's rising from the east for everyone who's seeing it, then the United States now is in the Sabbath as the sun is rising. Okay. And then once it gets over here, it's coming back around. And now these people are entering into the Sabbath. Once the sun gets back to rising up over the horizon in the east in Jerusalem, we are now in another day. So the first day of the week now starts when the sun rises in Jerusalem. Once it reaches here, now we're in the first day of the week. Okay? And then once it comes around here, now they're in the first day of the week. And then once the sun gets back here to Jerusalem, now we're entering into the second day of the week. Yes, they're behind us. They're not in front of us. Man says that they're in front of us because of this international date line. And since Australia and New Zealand are right here, this is what's causing this mess up and confusion. Okay? So all I'm saying to you all is this. For those of you who are in Australia and New Zealand, you guys are not in front of us. You're behind us. You're still waiting when that sun comes up. I mean, you guys are in the Shabbat right now. You're in the Shabbat right now, what you guys call Tuesday. You're in the Shabbat right now. So, Franklin, you said, is your explanation of timeline, etc., on your website? Franklin, what timeline? Are you talking about what I'm sharing right now? If this is what you're talking about, no, I'm just now sharing this with you all. This is what I was saying earlier when I came on. I was like, there's something I needed to tell you guys, and I couldn't remember, and it came back to me now. Daniel, what is Shabbat? Shabbat is the Sabbath. That is the pronunciation in Hebrew, Shabbat. You're very welcome, Franklin. Yes, Nazareth, their Sabbath will land on what they call a Tuesday. Yes. Yes. Yep. So, I mean, it's just like how right now the ones are a lot of our, let's see, that's why Nick Vanderlane puts out 2 calendars, I guess. So when Nick Vanderlane did his, he's talking about the sighting of the spring equinox, right? Or any of the takufas. So the sighting of the sun as it's traveling across the sky for them. So if we go back and we look at the way that we did the equinox, the sighting of the equinox, Jerusalem would have saw it first, right? And then points west will see it next. Okay. So we would see the spring equinox before Australia and New Zealand. Okay. So once it goes around, then they're going to witness it. So now they're entering into the new year. And then once we get here, we're going into the second day of the year, and so on and so forth. But this is the line right here for Jerusalem. This is the line that begins. This is the true international date line, if you will, according to scripture, because everything is based off of Jerusalem. Yes, Daniel, we are definitely living in the end times. We're like at the end of the end times for real. So, okay, so that's the thing. So you're let's see. Menes, so you're still thinking into the paradigm box of the pagan days, because you're saying, so we're a day after you guys. No, you guys are not a day after us. You're still waiting for the sun to come your direction. Okay. Just like right now, this is a perfect example right now. Let's say if today was the Passover, it's evening here right now, like it's dark right now. We would be doing Passover right now. You guys wouldn't be doing Passover yet. You're going to wait, as you said, it's 1:38 over there right now in the afternoon. So you're going to wait until the sun sets if today was the Passover, and you would do it this evening. Are you following now? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not that you're a day behind. We can't look at it with the pagan dates. That's what's causing the confusion. And it's going to take some time to reacclimate ourselves to this understanding, because Menace, this is why I'm going to have to share this with Robin, or if you, well, I'm going to let him know he needs to look at this video, because it just needs a little slight tweak to what you guys are doing over there and the timing. Okay, because the timing, you guys are at literally almost at the end of Jerusalem's day when they're getting ready to go into another day. You guys will be just getting your day going, because once the sun leaves your area and they're in darkness over here in Jerusalem, once it leaves your area, they're going to start seeing the sunrise, and they're getting ready to enter into another day. And so while they're in that new day, all of us are still following up. We're following behind Jerusalem. Yes, indeed, Menace. Yes. So I just wanted to bring that up. That was on my mind, and I was like, oh man, I got to bring this up, and what better way than to do it right now since we're literally at the beginning of the year. Daniel Phillips, are you a Bible expert? I don't know if I would say that. No, I'm not a Bible expert. I read the Bible, and the Creator, our Abba Yahuwah, is teaching us His truth. Not only to me, but all those who want to know the truth, He is revealing this truth to them as well. Joanna, you say your brain is in a daze right now? Okay, so Shalom, Akodi Elizabeth. Sunrise pagan Tuesday morning to sunrise pagan Wednesday morning is what I understood. Yes, pretty much. That's exactly what it would be, Elizabeth. Yes. You're very welcome, Menace. All praises to Abba Yahuwah. I'm sweating, laughing out loud. Can't tell if it's hormonal or the change of heart. AJ, so you said, so we are following behind Jerusalem time. So kind of like a ripple effect from Jerusalem, east to west. Yes, yes, AJ. Yes. Okay, Joanna, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, Fanny, all praises to Abba Yahuwah. Jimmy, are we to use a flat map to determine where Jerusalem is located? It changes to northeast for me in Illinois. Okay, so let me go to the flat map, the flat Earth map. So let me put in flat Earth map. I do have one in my folder, but I think it'd just be faster for me to do this. All right, let's use the, what is a great one here? Okay, this is a nice one. This is 16 by 1600. So that's going to be very detailed. Okay. Voila. All right. So yes, for us, Aki, I think you're bringing us to another new truth of understanding, because I remember I was saying, you know what? Let us face towards the east. But if we're looking at it from a flat Earth map, which we know is correct, here is. Let me blow this up. Mike, I think you're onto something, my friend. Okay. So no matter exactly where we are here in the United States, United Snakes, here is Yerushalayim. It would be right here. Okay. So if we was to make a line, like you say, it would be northeast. Yes, that's for everybody here in the snakes. We would all be facing northeast. So that's what I'm going to start doing, facing northeast. To that top for that Ak, Mike.
So we have to face that way?
Northeast, yep, that way, yeah. So for all of us in the United Snakes of America, we're going to start facing northeast towards Yerushalayim. Yep, even Mexico, all of you would be facing that way. Those of you who are in Africa, you're just going to be facing north because you're all pretty much south of Yerushalayim from there. Like if you're in South Africa, you're just going to face north. It literally lines you up with Yerushalayim. Yes, yes. And this is what we're to do. We can't be stubborn. We cannot be stubborn and stay in our traditions, right? When truth is being revealed, we need to line ourselves up with the truth. Hallelujah. Oh, yes, Lupe. That's what I always say when I say United Snakes. That's what I'm talking about. United Snakes of America. I live in the snake of Nevada. Lupe, you live in the snake of California. Yes, yes, yes. Now, the only ones who would be facing west would be all those, like if you lived in Italy, you would face west.
So
Yeah.
what about the Caribbean?
The Caribbean would be facing northeast as well.
Somebody asked that.
So where is Australia? Okay, so Australia is over here. So Australia would be facing northwest. You would be facing northwest because this would be north for you. Okay, this is the north. Okay. So from anywhere in Australia, let's say like Sydney. Let me back this out a little bit. There's Sydney over here. You would have to face northwest to face Jerusalem. Chosen daughter, you said that you're happy that your prayer corner faces northeast. Yafa. Yes, exactly, Gina. Snake of Pennsylvania. I used to live there for many years. Arkansas.
I like Arkansas.
My desk is facing northwest. So I'll be facing the other corner over that way, dear. Yes. Aki Al, you around? I don't see you over here, Aki.
Shalom, Cody. Lupe.
There you is. Yes. Yes. Counsel Tucky for me. Okay. I know, right? Aki Al's probably on the phone. No, I see him here. It's time to change my room around. No, I'll just be standing in that direction when it's time to pull off. This is perfect timing for I just purchased a map book for travel to stay off the radar. Yes, yes. Yahudah, that's perfect to do, yes. I would suggest also, speaking of maps, get you a Rand McNally map for those of you who live in the United Snakes. And if you live somewhere else in the world, if you can get a map of your area in case you have to foot it and you start to kind of understand your geographical location, when it's time to go, you are not going to have these devices. Okay, these devices you won't have. So get you a map. If you live here in the United States of America, where did I put my map, dear? Is that it right there?
Is this it?
I don't know. Is it? Looks
Yes.
like it. Let me show them. Let me show them that. TORAH, Yahuah.
We got that in the
Yahuah.
Pennsylvania.
Yes. Okay. So here's my hard copy of a map. Rand McNally, right? The reason why I want this is because if I have to foot it to our location, I will know how to get there by having this map. Okay. Let me take you to this. Okay, here it is. This is the map. So this is the map of the great old United Snakes of these Americas. Okay. And this is going to be very crucial to have if you have to start footing it, because you'll be able to make out geographical points, especially here on the West Coast, when it has to deal with mountains and mountain peaks. So I'm going to give an example here. Okay, so here we are. This is, let's say if I was trying to find my way to Phoenix. So here's Las Vegas, okay, where I live. And then here is Phoenix. It's kind of split up by the perforated coil here. But let's say if I had to walk and I want to stay off the beaten path, I don't want to take the highways, but I can tell by where I need to travel, even if that means I have to cross the Colorado River, by knowing certain landmarks as I see them, I would know how to stay off the beaten path so I am not going to run into any authorities and find my way, all right, however long it may take, as if I was traveling to Goodyear or Litchfield, which would be right about here. But it's great to have one of these because, again, you're not going to always have GPS. You ain't going to be able to put in your coordinates and say, oh, yeah, I'm trying to get over here. And then all of a sudden,
Zoink, zonk.
you don't have no access because you didn't take the mark. And they're saying, well, I'm sorry, but you're not, your phone is not going to work unless you take the mark. And believe me, that's what's getting ready to happen. You're going to be literally ostracized from the system because you're not part of the system unless you become part of the system. Yahusha, the Messiah, you said, why is it dark in Florida 3 hours before Vegas if it is a flat plane? Okay, so here's the thing. The sun is not as big as the earth plane. Okay, so let me give you a little example here. Let me see if I can find, give me a second. Let me see if I can find that one is kind of working out for me, but that ain't the one I want. Let's see if I can find one here. So while I'm looking for a certain map, and I don't know if they have it here, but I want you to understand that the sun is not as big as we've been told. That's number one. And number two, the sun is not sitting up so high that it's giving light to the whole flat plane of the earth. Okay. It's sitting low in the atmosphere, low enough to where it's shining on a certain area. Okay. So kind of like this. No, that ain't, I can't use that one either. Where is it? I've seen somewhere they actually show like a GIF, but I guess this will have to work. Let me use this one. Let me use this one. Okay. So the question that you asked here, I don't, where did the, was it subliminal? No, it wasn't subliminal. What about it, baby?
Somebody they were wondering where you can buy it.
Oh, yes. You can get the same book that I showed you of the map for $30 on Amazon. Okay, there it is. Yahusha, the Messiah. Okay, Yahusha, the Messiah. So let me explain to you. So here it is. This is a model of kind of what it would be like, right? So here's the sun, but the sun is not so high that it lights up the whole flat earth, the flat plane. It's hitting a certain area of the earth, okay, because it's not sitting very high in the firmament. In fact, using trigonometry, the guesses that I've seen of those who've used trigonometry by studying the position of the sun from one location, point A to point B, you triangulate from the sun and the rays and how long it takes to travel over a time. It gives you the distance of the sun being about 3,400 miles, 3,400 miles above the Earth's surface. If it was any higher than that, then it would have a broader view of the Earth and it would be able to shine more of the Earth. But because the Earth is so vast in its space, its plane, that the sun, where it is above the earth plane in that area, it would be like shining a flashlight and you're only getting that area of that flat plane. It's not going over the whole plane of the earth. I hope that makes sense. Franklin, this would be even if you're there on the British Isle. Okay. I know there's not a whole lot of places for you to hide, but I'm sure you can find one because, again, when the time is right for you to leave, when it's time for you to flee, just like we're told here in Matthew chapter 24, you got to flee. Okay. I was sharing this a couple of lives ago. We're over here thinking that, oh, you know what? There's no need to reason to flee because they got GPS and they got these satellites in the sky. They can see everything and everything that everybody's doing. No, they can't. No, they can't. Because if they could, then they would have known where certain people are hiding out, like the what do they call them? What are those people in Afghanistan that they were looking for so long? The the Taliban. The Taliban was all up in the mountains. Okay. Now, if they had a satellite that can see everything all time, all through the day and night, they would know exactly where all these hiding. You know why? Because they can't see all things. The only way that they can see all things is if you are connected into the system. That's when the all-seeing eye can see you. That's why they want you to get a chip. Because once you get that mark, that chip, you are now able to be seen wherever you go. It's just like you carrying your phone. If you're in an area where there's no coverage, they can't find you and you can't find them. So, Matthew 24, notice it says here, the Messiah tells us, verse 20, and pray, Palau, that your flight, your escape does not take place in winter or on the Sabbath. He wouldn't even tell us this if there was no use in running. He wouldn't even tell us that. There would be no need to be praying that your escape is to be done, that you pray that your escape doesn't happen on a Sabbath or in winter, if they can see you. When that time comes, Priscilla, Gilbert, let me just say Gilbert because I don't want to mess up your name. When that time comes, Gilbert, you're going to probably act out of instinct and you're going to flee to a certain direction, okay? That instinct is probably going to save you. So I can't tell you where to go. Nobody knows where they're going to go. Now, there is this very popular teaching that's going on right now about the second Exodus, okay? Ronald from Truth Unedited, he's very big on this second Exodus. Him and I differ on this, and I'm going to tell you why we differ on this. Okay, number one, we're not told anywhere in Scripture that we're going to be gathered in a second Exodus. Nowhere. Okay, and if you want to show me one, please put it in the comments and we'll go there. And I'll show you how that passage is not talking about a second Exodus. Okay, every passage that a person has brought up to say that this means the second Exodus is not the second Exodus. I'm going to tell you why. Because we're already in the second Exodus, if you want to call it the second Exodus. We're in the wilderness right now. Okay, so with that being said, there is not going to be no grouping of people. The only people who are going to escape the troubles that are about to come upon this earth is the 144,000. That is written. Okay, and we know that all of us are not going to be one of these 144,000. We know this. Who they are, I have no idea. Only Yahuah knows. They're alive right now as I'm speaking. You might be one of those people. I can't say that you're not, but we know that not all of us that are hearing my voice right now is one of the 144,000. Now, with that being said, from that point, I can show you page after page, chapter after chapter, verse after verse, that the Great Tribulation is an open season on those of us who know this truth. I can show you in the book of Daniel, what we just read here in Matthew chapter 24. What does he say here in Matthew chapter 24? Verse 9. Then they shall deliver you up to affliction and what? Kill you. And you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Does that sound like you're getting taken somewhere? No, because Satan is going to try us. He's going to test us. He's going to put out all the stops now on the children of Yasharal, native born and those who have been grafted in. Same thing that we're told in Revelation chapter 13. Let me show you this one. Revelation chapter 13. What does it say about the anti-Messiah? What is he going to do to us? Verse 7, chapter 13. And it was given to him, the anti-Messiah, to fight with the set-apart ones. Who's the set-apart ones? These are the people that are keeping the commandments. These are the people who know the Mashiach. What else does it say here? He fights with us. He makes war with us. And he overcomes us. And the authority was given to him over every tribe, every language, and every nation. You see this? So when I hear people like Ronald from Truth Unedited talking about that there is this second Exodus that's going to happen, and like his latest one where he says, oh, if you're trying to escape out of Babylon, you're doing it on your own. Yahuah is the one who's going to gather us up. Yes, that's true. I agree with him 100%. Yahuah is the one who's going to gather us up. But he is not going to gather us up, all of us up, because we got to go through something. Daniel says the same thing. Let every word be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. I'm not going to sugarcoat what it's telling us here. Notice what it says here in verse 31. And strong ones shall arise from him, that is from the false Messiah, the anti-Messiah, and they shall profane the set-apart place. This is that third temple where it should not be erected, okay, that it talks about in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. The stronghold, and shall take away that which is continual and set up the abomination that lays waste. What is this abomination that lays waste? The set-apart place. And by flatteries, he, the anti-Messiah, shall profane those who do wrong against the agreement. So he is going to trick them even more. But the people, listen to this, but the people who know their Alua Alahim, those who know Yahuah, shall be strong, and they shall act. Act how? They're going to do strong and great things. What's going to happen? Greater works than these shall you do, said the Messiah. Greater works than these shall you do. That's it right there. And those of the people who have insight, that's you and me, those of you who are listening to this channel, the whole reason why I'm doing this and why I feel that Abba Yahuah is allowing this to all transpire is because he is preparing you and me who has understanding to give understanding to the others who don't know during this time of the Great Tribulation. And they, the many, shall stumble by sword, meaning that they're going to be unalived by the sword. They're going to be unalived by the flame. They're going to be unalived in captivity, and they're going to be unalived by plundering for days. What's the days? 3.5 years, 1,260 days, or 42 months. Okay, baby. Or times and half a time. And when they stumble, when they're about to be unalived, they shall be helped with a little help. Who's the one that comes to help us? Who's the Savior? Here comes the Spirit. Here comes the Ruach, right on time. He's going to help you go through that, whatever it is that you're going through. If it's torture, he's going to help you go through that torture. What happened to all the other disciples? What happened to all the believers of those who believe in the Messiah? Did they get to escape? No. They had to pay with their life. If they persecuted the head, who's the Mashiach, and we're the body, what do you think they're going to do to us? Exactly. Exactly. And so it goes on and says this, and when they stumble, they shall be helped, a little help, but many shall join them by lies, by flatteries. These are people who we believe that they're one of us, but they're not one of us. They're infiltrators. They have been sent by the government, and they want to spy out on our freedom. And some of those who have insight, you and me, we too shall be unalived. We too shall stumble. But it's to refine us. It's to clean us. It's to make us clean and white until the time of the end, for it is still for an appointed time. Do you see anywhere here that we're getting taken out? Do you see anywhere where we're going to be gathered up into a second Exodus? No. No. Let every word be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. And I'm just showing you 2. I can take you to Revelation. It says the same thing. Let me show you. Revelation chapter 12 and chapter 5. In fact, let's go here. Chapter 6. What does it say about the 5th seal? Who are these people that are getting taken out? These are people that believe in the word. And when he opened the 5th seal, I saw under the slaughter place the beings, the souls of those who have been slain. They've been killed, unalive for the word of Yahuah Elohim and for the witness that they held. So the word of Yahuah Elohim, that is the commandments. That is what we know as the Tanakh, the Old Testament, as they have wrongly given it that title. And then it says, and then we also held the witness. What is that witness? The testimony of the Messiah. And it says, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Master, set apart and true, until you judge and avenge our dam, our blood, on those who dwell on the earth. Why? Because they unalived us. This is future tense. We're not there yet. We're coming to this point. And there was given to each one a white robe, and they were told that they should rest a little while longer until both the number of their fellow servants and their brethren who would be unalived as they were was completed. Where's your second Exodus in this story? Where's your second Exodus? There is no second Exodus at this point. Why? Because we are already in it. We're in the wilderness right now. We're in the wilderness right now. I'll show you another one. I'll show you a 4th witness. That was the 3rd. I'm going to show you a 4th witness. Let's go to Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12. It says this. And when the dragon saw, verse 13, that he had been thrown to the arats, through the earth, he has been casted down to the earth. He persecuted the woman, that's the 144,000. He persecuted them. What do you mean persecuted them? He is speaking against us, whoever the 144,000 is. I don't know if it's us. I wouldn't be so boastful, to think that I'm one of the 144,000. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not one of the 144,000. I was telling one of the ox, I said, you know what? In my mind, my mentality is I'm not one of the 144. My mindset is I'm going to have to flee. Now, if I don't have to flee and Yahuah comes and gathers me up, whoo, hallelujah, Yahuah. Hallelujah, Yahuah. I became one of the first fruits. But if I'm not one of the 144,000 households, I'm not one of the first fruits. My mindset is already set that when I see certain things happening, when I see the abomination of desolation that was spoken of by the Nabi Daniel, the prophet Daniel, I know it's time to flee. When they erect that 3rd temple, I know it is no more time for me to sit around and wait for them to start doing their false offerings and slaughterings by these people who call themselves Jews and they are not. I'm gone. I'm fleeing. I'm out of here. I'm leaving everything that I know. If that means I have to leave my dogs behind, so be it. If that means I have to leave my family behind, so be it. I got to flee. Because if you wait another moment, that martial law is going to kick in and they're going to have everything surrounded. They're going to have checkpoints everywhere and you are going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck. And so it goes on and says here, and when the dragon saw that he had been thrown to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. So we know who the woman is. It's the 144,000. That is the 12 tribes of Yasharal, 12,000 from each tribe. The woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle to fly into the wilderness. We know this wilderness to be Mount Zion, as it says in Revelation chapter 14. This is where the 144,000 was taken to Mount Zion. Okay, they were the what? The 144,000 were redeemed from the earth, meaning that they were taken from the earth. And then it even tells us even more here. It says here in verse 4, they were redeemed from among men, being first fruits to Yahuah Elohim and to the Lamb. They are the first fruits. They're the cream of the crop. They're the first ones to be taken, each in their order, as Shaul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. They're taken. But it goes on and says this about what the dragon is going to do to those who are left over. And the dragon was enraged with the woman. Why? Because he couldn't find her. She had taken off. Yahuah took her to Mount Zion, to heaven. And he went to fight. Who is he? Satan. He went to fight. He went to make war with the remnant of her seed. That means those who didn't make the cream of the crop. Those who are guarding the commandments of Yahuah Elohim, that's the Tanakh, Genesis to Malachi, and possessing the witness of Yahushua the Mashiach, that is the New Testament, Matthew to Revelation. They believed all of this. They didn't say they were just a New Testament church. They didn't say that the law was done away with. They didn't say we didn't have to keep the Shabbat no more. They didn't say we didn't have to keep the appointed times anymore. No, they believed it all. They believed all of it from Genesis to Revelation and the apocryphals. Those guarding, those keeping the commandments of Yahuah Elohim and possessing the witness, or the testimony is another word for witness. It comes from the Greek word martus, which means martyrdom. They witnessed, they had the testimony of Yahushua the Messiah. That's what the New Testament is all about. It's the testimony of the Mashiach. And so it says the same thing in here in chapter 14. Let's start here from the third messenger, the third angel, verse 9. Oh, the Seventh-day Adventists, they love talking about the three angels. But this is what it says. And a third messenger, a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast, Jesus, and his image, the cross, and receives his mark upon their forehead, this is to come in the future, or upon his right hand, or in his hand, he also shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahuah Elohim. This is the wrath of God, as they would say in the Christian churches, that is poured out undiluted, meaning at its full strength, into the cup of his wrath. Those who take this, those who do this, anyone who worships the beast is Jesus. Anyone who believes or bows down or takes upon this image, the image of jealousy, like we read in Ezekiel chapter 8, that's the cross, and receives the mark. This is future. This is coming now. This is why we see AI technology in these data centers and why they want to chip you. He shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahuah Elohim, which is poured out undiluted, which is full strength, into the cup of his wrath. And we can read about that in later on in this chapter. We'll go there. But it goes on and says this. And he or she shall be tortured with fire and sulfur before the set apart messengers and before the Lamb. Not before us. Yahuah don't even want us, Adam's kind, to see other Adam's kind being tortured. It's not for our face. It's not for our eyes to witness this. It's for particular angels, these messengers, and for the Mashiach, the creator of heaven and earth, to witness his enemies being tortured in fire. And it says, and the smoke of their torture goes up forever and ever, and they have no rest. They have no rest. You don't want to believe that so-called HE double hockey sticks is eternal? That it's an eternal torture? Notice that it says that they have no rest, day or night. That same verbiage, day or night, is not talking about that there's night and that there's day there. It's talking about a time frame. Just like it says here about these angels, that says this. And the four living beings, each having 6 wings, were covered with eyes around and within, and they do not cease day or night. saying, set apart, set apart, set apart. Kadash, 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 Yahuah, Al Shaddai, the Almighty, who was, who is, and who is coming. Who is that? That's the Mashiach. He's the one who's coming, his second coming. But notice again, we know that there's no night there. This is talking about, metaphorically, time, day and night, because that's what we understand. Day and night is a perpetual time. And so the same thing is being said here in chapter 14, where it talks about these people who in verse 11, they have no rest day or night. Those worshiping the beast, Jesus, and his image, the cross. Also, if anyone receives the mark of his name. What? If another comes in his name, you're going to worship him. You'll accept him, but I come in my Father's name and you don't accept me. You don't want to believe that my name is Yahusha. You want to take on this pagan deity named Jesus. And for those of you who was with me yesterday, you saw that I broke down the J-E and the S-U-S. J-E or I-E, because there was no J until the 1524. It comes from the letter I. That's why it's a hooked I with a dot on top. It comes after the letter I in the English alphabet. H-I-J-K. I-E means hail in Greek, or praise in Greek. Zeus or Zeus is exactly who it is. Zeus. That is the mark of his name. Here is the endurance of the set apart ones. That's you and me. 10 people left because they love the name of Jesus. No worries. Let them do what they do. A seed has still been planted. Again, here is the endurance. Here is the patience. Here is those who are going to deal with what's going on at that time. They are the set apart ones. They're the Kadashim. These are the Talmudim, true disciples of the true Messiah, not this Christian, this pagan Messiah called Jesus the Christ. Here are those, notice what it says here, guarding the commandments of Yahuah Elohim. Did not we just read this here about who Satan is going after? Those who are guarding the commandments of Yahuah Elohim? Yes. And then it goes on and says, and the belief of Yahusha. That's the New Testament. Old Testament, New Testament together. Same thing here in verse 12. Chapter 12, verse 17. Those guarding the commandments of Yahuah Elohim and possessing the witness of Yahusha the Messiah. Old Testament, New Testament, all together in one, packaged nicely. So again, where is your second Exodus that is still to come? It's nowhere to be found. Why? Because you was born into the second Exodus. You was born on this side of the promised land. You are still in the wilderness. You was born in the wilderness. And if you listen by the Spirit, you have an opportunity to enter into the promised land, which is on the other side of the Jordan. You have that possibility if you would adhere and if you will listen to his commandments and you are obedient. Why did those people not enter? Because of disobedience. Let me show you. Let's go to Hebrews. What does it say here in Hebrews chapter 4? Verse 6, since then it remains for some to enter into it, into what? Into the kingdom. And those who formerly received the Basora, the great news, you may call it the pagan word gospel, did not enter in because of what? Because of what? Disobedience. What did they disobey? The commandments. Just like what we read in Revelation chapter 12, verse 17 and Revelation chapter 14. You must keep the commandments, and you must know the Messiah and what he has done for you. Turn that all the way down there. So when you go here, Revelation chapter 22, the very last chapter of the Bible that you say is the book for me, verse 14, It tells you exactly that you have to be doing the commandments so that you may have the right to enter in, to have the tree of life and to enter into the gates into New Jerusalem. But if you continue to believe that you don't have to keep the commandments, don't worry. Don't worry about not getting in because you have chosen not to get in. So all that being said, yes, dear. So all that being said, what is the I don't want to say the moral of the story because that just kind of gets, it's not what I'm trying to say. What is the bottom line? What is it what's the foundation here that we're trying to get to? The foundation here is that we are in the wilderness right now and that we are getting tested right now, just like the children of Yasharal were being tested in the wilderness to see if they were going to be obedient or not. Do we understand this? Obedience is key. Obedience is key. Because if you're not obeying him, you're going to be tortured day and night. There is no end to that torture. Do you know why? Because Yahuah created us and he's eternal. He gave us a little bit of his light, a little bit of his spark. You ever watched any of these Transformer movies that Hollywood puts out? And they talk about this all spark. And they got this Optimus Prime and how he has the all spark in him. These are Jewish people who put that movie together, just like they put the movie together of The Matrix, just like those who put together all these Marvel comic movies. They're putting the Basora, the great news in your face, but they're twisting everything. They're perverting everything. They're doing this in your face. They're making a mockery of us. They got us entertaining ourselves, watching these movies on the so-called silver screen. They're literally telling you the truth, but they're masquerading it with all these different characters. They don't just blatantly say, this is Yahusha. This is the one who is going to remove all these people. That's Thanos. In the comic book, the Marvel comic series, Thanos is supposed to be Yahuah, but they make Thanos look like he's the villain. He's not the villain. He's cleaning house. He's getting rid of everything that offends in the world. But they got you looking at Thanos, this Greek deity. That's where that word Thanos comes from. Thanos is a Greek deity. This is how they put all of this stuff in our face, and yet they're twisting it and perverting it, and they're getting us to believe these lies. Yes, BT, yes. Yes. Okay, so let's go to Ezekiel, Mr. Kane. This is perfect timing for this second Exodus passage, yeah? Let's go there. Ezekiel chapter 20. Because a lot of people like to use that passage to say, see, this is talking about the second Exodus. Let's look at this. Yes, exactly, Aki. Yes, exactly, Aki Al. I mean, Emmanuel. My bad. Salakia Aki. Okay. So let's look at this passage in Yazakal, chapter 20. Yazakal, which is also known as Ezekiel, chapter 20. We're going to start here at verse 34. And I shall bring you out from the peoples. That word, the peoples, is the Gentiles, the nations, and gather you out of the lands where you are scattered. Who scattered us? And where did he scatter us? To the nations, to the people. Okay? with a mighty hand and with an outstretched arm and with wrath poured out. He says he is going to gather us. He says, I will gather you out of the lands where you have been scattered with a mighty hand and with the outstretched arm and with wrath poured out. This is exactly what he did to the children of Yasharal when they came out from Egypt, right? Now he digresses in verse 35. And I shall bring you into the wilderness of the peoples, the same peoples right here, okay? And shall enter into judgment with you face to face there. Where? Where he scattered us. Because remember, he says he's going to gather us out of the lands where we have been scattered. Where have we been scattered? To the nations. So here in verse 35, you can't be turning back and going back to the nations if he brought you out of the nations. Because he's saying here, this is again, this passage, this verse here, to understand, he's digressing. He's regressing to let you know what he did. I shall bring you out of the wilderness of the peoples. I shall gather you out of the lands where you have been scattered. He's telling you how he's doing it. And I shall gather you, or I shall bring you into the wilderness of the peoples. That's what he did. When did he do that? He did that with the northern tribes, the 10 lost tribes, as we call them today, during the time that they were taken into captivity by the Assyrians. Okay? And I think that was 640 BC, somewhere around there, when the Assyrians came and got them. And then the children of Yasharal, the house of Judah, they were taken later to Nebuchadnezzar into Babylon, right? But then they returned. They went back to the promised land, but they didn't have control over it. And then they were scattered again. That's what happened in the New Testament. This is where the Messiah says that we're going to be scattered. Why? Because of what we did to the Messiah. We missed our first visitation. Our ancestors missed the visitation of the Messiah. How he said, Yahushalom, Yahushalom, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you who unalive the prophets. How I wish I can bring you under my wing, like a hen brings its chicks under its wing. But you have missed your visitation. So what happened? He prophesied about what was going to happen to Jerusalem. Now, one stone shall be left upon another that shall not be thrown down, talking about the temple, the second temple. And what would happen to the people? They would be scattered. Judah was scattered. That's what Deuteronomy 28 was talking about. Because of your disobedience, I told you you weren't going to see Egypt again, but you're going to see Egypt again. I'm going to scatter you into the Gentiles. All these people that you wanted to be like, don't worry, you're going to be in their areas. You're going to get to be them, and you're going to get to know them, and you're going to see that they're going to treat you different, and they're going to give you all kinds of bywords. They're going to call you names. They're going to call you all kinds of names, like the N-word, and black, and Negro, and African American, all these bywords that do not identify who we truly are. We are the house of Yahudah. But let's continue. And he says, and I shall bring you into the wilderness of the peoples. This is why I was saying earlier, we're already in the wilderness. You were born in the wilderness because we are not in the promised land. You were born in the wilderness of the nations, of the peoples. Let me show you that word. In case you don't believe, let me bring this up. Let me bring this up. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 34. Okay, let me let you guys see this. Let me bring this up here so you guys can see it. Verse 34, and I will bring you out from the people. You see that number right there? Let me mouse over it. Means people. Tribe, as those of Israel, hence collectively troops, attendants, figuratively a flock, folk, men, nation, people. So let's look at this again. He says, and I shall bring you out from the nations, and gather you out from the lands where where you are scattered. Where were we scattered? In the nations. Who are the nations? The Gentiles. With a mighty hand and an outstretched arm and with wrath poured out. What's this wrath? That's what we read in the book of Revelation. That's going to happen. This was prophesied of what we're reading in the book of Revelation. People want to say, someone asked me earlier, do you believe we're in the end times? Yep, and here it is right here. This is it. He's about to pour out his wrath. So now he digresses in verse 35 and he says, and I shall bring you into the wilderness of the peoples. That's what he did. And shall enter into judgment with you face to face there. That's what he's doing right now. You and me, we are in the wilderness right now, and he's dealing with us face to face. He's saying, I am restoring the commandments to you. I'm restoring my name to you. I'm restoring my calendar to you. Now, what are you going to do with all this information? He is entering into judgment with us face to face right now. He says, as I entered into judgment with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Mitzrayim, so I shall enter into judgment with you. We also are in Mitzrayim right now. Remember, he said, let's go here. Here we go. Let's go to Deuteronomy. This is why precept must be upon precept, people. It's the only reason, this is the only way you're going to understand this. Let me back this out a little bit. Verse 68. And Yahuah shall bring you back to Mitzrayim in ships, by way of which I said to you, you are never to see it again. And there you shall be sold to your enemies. That's the peoples. That's the nations. As male and female slaves, but no one to buy you. No one to redeem you. No one to set you free. So then we go back here to Ezekiel chapter 20. We are in that wilderness. He's already brought us out. And I shall bring you into the wilderness of the peoples. Notice it says of the peoples. So this is no longer like the Egypt of the day when they came out in that first Exodus. This so-called, if you want to call it, second Exodus, he's going to bring you into the wilderness of the peoples. This is the so-called second Exodus. That's why I'm saying you are in your Exodus experience right now. You are in the wilderness of the nations. Wilderness of the nations, the peoples. Right here, verse 35. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the nation. Same number as that one. 5971, 5971. And I shall bring you into the wilderness of the peoples and shall enter into judgment with you face to face there. We're in it right now. And he goes, and as I entered into judgment with your fathers in the wilderness when they came out of Egypt, of the land of Mitzrayim, Egypt, so I shall enter into judgment with you. Where are we at right now? We're in Egypt. Who's ruling the world? Is it not Rome? Who has Rome masqueraded as? Is it not Egypt? Yes. They've taken on the Madonna and the child. Who's the Madonna and the child? Isis and Horus. And I shall make you pass under the rod. He's going to test us. And shall bring you into the bond of the agreement. The agreement that was made with our people back at Mount Sinai. He says, if you do this, I will do this. This is my portion, my copy, and here's your copy. The 2 tablets of stone has my copy and your copy as the people. You do this by following my commandments, and I'll do this. I'll give you everlasting life. This is the bond of the agreement that'll go into the ark of the agreement that is called the ark of the so-called covenant. And so it says that here. And I shall make you pass under the rod, that's the test, to see if you're going to line up with the bond of the agreement, the contract, the marriage vows. And what is he going to do? He is going to purge the rebels who don't want to follow the commandments, who don't want to follow the feast days, who don't want to keep the Shabbat, who don't want to know his name, who don't want to know the calendar, who don't want to do anything that he has told us to do. He is going to purge the rebels from among you and those who transgress against me. That is called sin. From the land where they sojourn, I bring them out, but they shall not come into the land of Yasharal. They're not getting into the promised land. They are not getting into the kingdom of Yahuah. And you shall know that I am Yahuah. We are in our second Exodus right now, people. We are in our second Exodus right now. And this is why I'm telling all of you. If you're listening to somebody like Ronald, and he's not the only one who's saying this. I too used to believe it until my eyes were open to this passage in Ezekiel chapter 20. We are in our wilderness experience right now. I'll give you another witness. Matthew chapter 4. And Yahusha was led up by the Ruach into the wilderness to be tried, tested by the devil. And after having fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. Now it digresses. Now it's going to tell you what happened in the 40 days and 40 nights. And the trier, that is the devil, came and said to him, if you are the son of Yahuah Elohim, command these stones to become bread. You guys know this story. But notice that he was there for 40 days and 40 nights. This 40 is in representation of 40 Jubilee years. 40 times 50 gives you 2,000 years. What is being told to us here? The body of the Messiah is going to be tested in the wilderness for 2,000 years until he comes and gets us. We are in the wilderness. And until we recognize this, we're not going to be saved from what we have been taught in Christianity. Christianity has caused us to look at everything differently. Not only are they teaching people that there's this pre-tribulation rapture that the church is going to go through, and their shirts and their pants and everything else is going to be nicely folded up, and all the little babies are going to be gone. That's nowhere in scripture. I just showed you verse after verse that we are going to be tried. I just showed you verse after verse that Satan is the trier. I just showed you verse after verse that we have to go through this time, and many of us are going to lose our life. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. Where in all of that do you find a second Exodus? You don't. Why? Because we're in it. You're very welcome, Mr. Kane. You're very welcome. And this is why I've shared this before, and I'm going to reiterate it again. Notice here the Messiah, this is the beginning of his ministry. He was tested for 40 days in the wilderness. And we know his ministry was for 3.5 years. In the book of Acts, chapter 1, remember number 40. Until the day he was taken up, Acts chapter 1, verse 2, after giving instructions through the set-apart Ruach, that is the Ruach HaKodesh, to the apostles whom he had chosen, to whom he also presented himself alive after his suffering by many infallible proofs, being seen by them for what? 40 days. This is at the end of his ministry, speaking concerning the kingdom of Yahuah Elohim. What do you think the odds are that the beginning of his ministry, you would see that he was going to be tested for 40 days? And then there's a gap of 3.5 years, and then you see 40 days again after his resurrection. What are we being told here? Let me tell you. I told you about the first 40. The first 40 was telling us that we're going to be tempted. We're going to be tested. For 2,000 years, the body of the Messiah, which we represent, we're going to be tested for 40 Jubilee years, or 2,000 years. There's a gap of 3.5 years there. And then the other 40. What does the other 40, this 40 represent? After 40 Jubilee years, the body shall be resurrected. The Messiah was resurrected. He showed himself alive for 40 days. So what you're seeing here, let me take a piece of paper. Let me get my little notepad here. Okay. We got two lines simultaneously going on at the same time. "40 Jubilees, temptation." Okay? 40 Jubilees, until resurrection. Okay? You got 3.5 years here, and you're going to have an offset of 3.5 years there. I want you to see this. For those of you who have eyes to see, this 3.5 year period was the ministry of our Messiah, Yahusha. This 3.5 year here is going to be the ministry of Shaitan on the earth, called the Great Tribulation. Do you see it? Do you see it? This is not by coincidence. This is not by happenstance. This is for real. Times, and half a time. 3.5 years. That's the Great Tribulation. We are living in a very exciting time, Mishpachah. There are a lot of other things to back this up, be it from the very beginning in Genesis chapter 1, where he says that he had created the earth and the heavens and all that is in it in 6 days, and he rested on the seventh. It lines up with everything that we're seeing here, because at the end of this resurrection time frame, we begin the millennial reign, the 1,000 years, which represents the seventh day, the Shabbat. So again, this is not by accident. We are in the wilderness. We are in the wilderness. So I want to play this song here that JJ Arkudi Yaverna Judah Yaffa, it's so wonderful for you to be here. And you agree because the Ruach has revealed the same to you as he has revealed to us. And that's a beautiful thing. This is how we know we are under the same Ruach. There's only one spirit. And if we're all listening to the spirit, then we're all going to get the same information. Okay, let me go here and see in the inbox. Yaverna, there we go. Okay, let's check out this song. Where is my volume here? Is there a volume here? Oh, it's because it's not up.
Of all the families of the earth,
Let me back it up.
I chose you.
Here we go. If any of you have any questions, please let me know. I'll answer it after we get done with this
I
song.
chose you. And because you are mine, I will not let you walk uncorrected. You wear my name, so I will purge to restore. Hear this word I have spoken. Children of Yeshua, hear me well. Out of all the nations walking, only you I knew and not well. You broke my bread, my laws, my ways. You turned aside to transgress, but I won't leave you lost and oppressed by the wicked, by the rest. Because you are mine, I will not let you slide. I correct who I love, and I purge with fire inside. You bear my esteem, so you will be refined. I will judge you as my own, because you are mine. I will bring you out from the people, gather you from lands afar, with wrath and heat and judgment. I'll meet you where you are. I'll cause you to pass under the rock, bring you into the brid again. I'll purge out rebels and traitors, only the faithful remain. I'll sit as a refiner of silver, as a cleanser of my own. The offering of Yahuah and Yeshua shall rise like incense before my throne. Because you are mine, I will not let you slide. I correct who I love, and I purge with fire inside. You bear my esteem, so you will be refined. I will judge you as my own, because you are mine. If I was linear with other nations, it was because they are nothing to me but you, Yeshua. You are my inheritance, so I discipline you as a father. I wound to heal, I tear to bind, because you are mine. Because you are mine, I will not let you slide. I correct who I love, and I purge with fire inside. You bear my steam, so you will be refined. I will judge you as my own, because you are mine.
Hallelujah. Yahuah. To the Atah for that. To the Atah Aki. I mean, Cody. To the Atah Cody Yaverna for sharing that with us. Beautiful song. Beautiful. I think, Laura, you also had a song. I don't know if you sent it to me on my email. I think you did. Let me check. Anyone has any questions about what we went over, about the second Exodus, about any of the feast days, about the calendar, anything that you're not understanding? If I know it, I will definitely share it with you. Do you have any questions? Where in the world? Where did it go? I don't even see it here. I must have closed it. I gotta open it up again. Okay, let me change my account. Yeah, ambassadors, Gmail. No, it's Dawn. Dawn, you had sent me a song. Let me play this. Tudata Dawn. I don't know if you're still Dawn, are you here? I don't want to play it if Dawn is not here. Dawn, are you here, Cody? Lachey, you said unleavened bread. Is it only for food to throw away? Baking powder, throw it away? Okay. So what you know as baking powder, yes, throw it away. And any bread. Okay? Any bread and the baking powder that has yeast. Okay? If it has yeast, toss it. I don't know if Dawn is here. If she's not here, then I'll wait until next Shabbat.
I don't think so. I don't see it.
Yes, I don't see her. Okay, let me give you guys an update about our Cody Carson. I don't know if Carson is listening tonight. Carson, if you are listening, Shabbat Shalom, Cody, our young Akot. So her mother sent me an email. I haven't read it yet. I'm about to read it though. So it says here, her mother says, "Hi, Jimmy. Thank you again for meeting with us a few weeks ago. Carson is back in school and has resumed her extracurricular activities, and we truly believe your influence played a big part in that. We're on spring break this week and came up to the mountains to ski. Carson is feeling hesitant about skiing with the family tomorrow because of the Sabbath. We really want her to be able to spend that time with us, and we're concerned about leaving her home alone as she suggested. We'd really appreciate any guidance you might have on how to navigate this situation. I was thinking she could praise either in the morning or evening when we are home. Perhaps she could listen to the recording of your live when she gets home. Thanks again, Margaret and Jeff." Margot. I apologize, Margot, if you're listening. So, I hope, and I'm going to have to get a hold of them. I'm going to share this. I'll text them. But, our young sister, Carson, she loves Yahuah so much. And we can learn a lot from this youngster. As it says in the word, the Messiah says, out of the mouth of babes, he has perfected praise. And it's the young ones. I'm getting chickadee bumps right now. It's the young ones. Yes. I know, Asha. I know, wifey. It is the young ones that seem to see what we don't see because we're so clouded with so much stuff that interferes in our mind. Yeah, called life. And this young sister, this young Akut, she is so beautiful, so Yafa. If Margot, if you're listening, or if Jeff, or if you're listening, the parents of Carson, let her know that Sabbath is now on a Monday. I know she still has to go to school. Let her go to school. But she'll understand what else she needs to do after school. She'll spend her time with Abba Yahuwah, and please let her do so. The other 6 days, she should spend time with all of you, except for, like I was sharing with you all, speaking of Margot and her husband, Jeff. Let her spend her time in Palal. Let her pray to Abba Yahuwah so that she can learn from the Spirit how she is to balance her young life and how she is to conduct herself around you, around her siblings, and around her friends. For those of you who don't know who I'm speaking of, let me just give you a little backstory about this young girl, this young lady. She's 14 years old. She came across my live back in December, this past December, pagan month December. She was struck to her core of this truth. She lives in Colorado, and you know how cold Colorado can be in the winter. She wanted to praise and pray to our Abba Yahuwah, and she felt that if she didn't go outside, that the ceiling and the roof of the house would stop her prayers and praise from receiving or reaching Yahuwah. So here she is in the middle of the winter, out there for hours, hands up, standing and praising Abba Yahuwah, palaling to him, praying to him. The mom and the dad would have to come out there and get her. They'll put her in, and in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning, she's back out there. And they don't even know she's out there because they're sleeping. It got to the point that she was not eating properly because she was fasting so long because she wanted to hear from Yahuwah. She started neglecting other things in her life because she wanted to be close to Yahuwah, because she sees how evil and wicked this world is. She didn't want to have anything to do with even the school system because she sees what it's teaching her. Yes, Simone, she gave up everything. Her family realized that she was in dire straits because she was fasting so long that they had to admit her into the hospital. Everybody that would come to her, the doctors and all the professionals that came to her to talk to her, she said, I am not going to listen to you unless you know about Yahuwah. And they're like looking at her like, who's Yahuwah? And the mother was telling me that when they would come into her room at the hospital, while she's laying there in the bed at the hospital, she would have her hands and her legs up while she's laying down, praising Abba Yahuwah. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? This young woman was putting her hands and her legs up in the air to praise Yahuwah. That young girl's got a huge reward waiting for her. She sure does. She sure does. Okay, so we are coming up to the 3rd hour, Mishpachah. I'm getting ready to get off. I got to eat, and we're getting ready to hit 9 o'clock here on the West Coast. I want to thank all of you for coming back. For those of you who were with me earlier in our earlier segment before I had to go and take care of this emergency. And unless something happens through the week, I will be back on what people call SUN Day or Sunday. And on Sunday, we will be going after to reach our brothers and sisters who are still in these paganistic religions specifically Christianity, to hope to get them out of there, that they would come out of her. So I'll be back on Sundays. Same time, same place here on YouTube. And then we would go to TikTok after 3 hours usually. And that would be on Sundays. And then, of course, our Shabbat, like today, on a MON day. This is all our time before Abba Yahuwah, just us. Christians that come in and listen, they're going to be hearing about what we believe on this Shabbat. And let me see if there's anything else I can think of before we shut her down. Anything, baby? For those of you who have been asking about a calendar bead, I know some of you have emailed me. I don't know if you're here tonight. Just know that we will be in touch with you. I think there's like 5 or 6 of you that I haven't reached out to yet. But I will reach out to you and send over your request to my Asha, my wife, and she will fulfill your orders to send out the calendar beads. Just wanted to show a few of them that I have here. So I think I showed this one earlier today when we was talking about the calendar. And here's another one.
Too as well.
And here's another one. Okay. John Davis, you said, thank you, Brother Jimmy, for everything you do. Love you and the Mishpachah Shalom. Love you too, Aki. Love you too, Aki John. Ahaba Atah. Will there be God willing? Yes. I hope I'm on the list. Okay, yes, Shannon, I think you are on that list. Ahava, you said is this one yours? Is this the one you're talking about? Manasseh, yes. All praises to Abba Yahuwah. All praises to him. Catherine, Yahuwah Barak you, and Shabbat Shalom to you as well, Cody. Yes, Simone, we're getting close. We're going to see each other here soon. C. Angel Gonzalez, which song did you want me to play again? Well, so there's 2 different brown beats here, Fanny. Oh, no, not Fanny. Who was it? Joanna. There's 2 different. One has the pink, and the other one has the white. And then the Shabbats on this one is silver, and the Shabbats on this one is gold. Zugio said the first one, oh my gosh, a Kuti song, lovely colors. This is my one Yaum that I look forward to. Hallelujah, Yahuwah Manes. Is there pink and silver by chance? Pink and so this one's pink and silver here, Diane.
Maybe she wants pink Yaums and silver Shabbats.
Oh, I don't know. Whatever requests that you guys have for any calendar beads, please let us know. And the colors. Yes, in fact, we have a song. We're going to be doing a dance to Dance Like David. I'm going to play it right now, actually. Let me Dance Like David, dance. Where is it? There it is. Okay. This is what we're going to close out with tonight. Oh, yes, I know Askia. TSA is really, and it depends where you're coming from, too. You're very welcome, Akodi Rebecca. Can I order a silver and gold and white? Yeah, Chosen's daughter, just hit me up in the email and let me know that, and we'll make it happen. Brian, Aki Brian, everything is going Yafa. Beautiful. Yes, Zagio, you can get a t-shirt that we're going to have. You just got to get a hold of Akodi Jackie C, and she will definitely fulfill your order. Christopher Yahoo, I would love to play that, but you would have to send it to me to my email. I don't have that song. I don't know that song. But if you would send it to me, I will, long as it's not Christian. But I see that you have Yahoo at the end of your name, so I'm assuming that you would already understand that we don't like any of those pagan names. So if that song doesn't have any pagan words in it, we would be more than happy to play it. Akodi Lupe, as usual, dear Aki Jimmy, thank you for the wonderful word. All praises to the Most High, Alua Yahuah. Must love Akodi song. Oh, much love Akodi song. Shabbat Shalom. To the top for that, Akodi Lupe. Please record the. We're going to definitely record it. Aki Steven, to the top, Aki Jimmy, you and your beautiful Asha song. I appreciate you, Aki, and we received that up. Yes, Brooke, I am. Yahuah willing, we will be driving to Phoenix. Yes.
Yes, we are.
Franklin, you said, thank you so much for your teaching. I will be on next. Yahuah willing. May Yahuah Baruch you and all those listening. Shalom. Likewise, Aki Franklin, we appreciate you coming through, and we come on every weekend and what we call Monday. So Sunday and Monday, depending where you are in the country. Local time, I will be here on those 2 days, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Mountain, 3 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. Yes, she's out of the hospital, Aki came. Akodi Jackie, I didn't know you was here. I know you always say you listen in the background. So please, for those of you who want a Pesach t-shirt, you would have to get with our Akodi Jackie C, Jackie123 here, the one that says I'm here. And for a nominal fee, she will send it out to you. Okay. All right. So with all that being said, may Yahuah Baruch you and keep you. May he continue to allow the light of his countenance to shine upon each and every last one of you and your mishpachah, your family. And may he continue to reveal himself to each and every last one of you by his Ruach HaKadosh, his set-apart spirit. And may we walk in the newness of life and keep his commandments to the best of our ability. My name is Ak Jimmy, also known as Brother Jimmy. We are ambassadors of Yah. Until next time, Shabbat Shalom to all of you. And may we continue to keep one another in Palal, in prayer. Let us pray for one another, that our strength will be strong in the days that are coming. Shabbat Shalom, Mishpachah. Shabbat Shalom.
When the spirit of Yahuah moves upon my heart, I will sing like David sang. When the spirit of Yahuah moves upon my heart, I will sing like David sang.